Seeking Light. So, as promised in my video yesterday, I decided to do a little bit of more poking into James' defense, and I looked for Facebook groups, I looked for a website. I don't know if since this letter that they sent out has been published, if they've just been taken down. But I did find the full text, the full letter, which we're going to actually look at today. And I was interested by the response I got to the video yesterday. I'll try to remember towards the end if I have time. I'm going to share with you a little conversation I had via the YouTube platform with somebody that was obviously pro Jane's Revenge. So I'm going to let the letter speak for itself in part, but I do want to comment. So this is signed from Jane's Revenge. I will say this. These people do write well. They seem to have a good command of the English language. So this is somebody who's definitely articulate. You've seen that we are real and that we are not merely pushing empty words. You will know them by the fruit of their actions, right? So it's not enough to just say something. You have to actually do that thing. This is actually a biblical statement in many respects. That James in chapter 1 says, do not only be hearers of the word, but doers also. Okay, let's continue. As we said, we are not one group, but many. Okay, so they had a previous letter, which I have not found yet. I may find that. We're not one group, but many. They're a hive, or the multitude of demons possessing the land. You've seen us in Madison, Wisconsin, Fort Collins, Colorado, Reisterstown, Massachusetts, Olympia, Washington, Des Moines, Iowa. By the way, it's Des Moines, not Des Moines. Linwood, Washington, Washington, D.C., Asheville, North Carolina, Buffalo, New York, Hollywood, Florida, Vancouver, Washington, Frederick, Massachusetts, Denton, Texas, Gresham, Oregon, Eugene, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, among others. And we work in countless locations invisibly. So this is a shadow group, apparently. I don't know if you remember, I'm blanking on the name of the group, but a computer hacking group that became popular a few years ago. They used the Guy Fawkes mask in their videos. I'm blanking on their name. But anyway, kind of this shadowy computer hacking group. You've read the communiques. Ooh, that's a fancy word. Appropriating French for discussing something in English. How thoughtful. You've read the communiques from the various cells. Okay, so apparently these numerous cells of them, these worker bees that are out and about for this larger organization, have sent out communications to the individual crisis pregnancy centers. You've seen the proliferating messages in graffiti and elsewhere, and you know that we are serious. Okay. And of course, they did back up their words with action. So, we do know that they're seriously deluded. We were unsurprised to see 30 days come and 30 days pass with no sign of consilience or even bare minimum self-reflection from you who impersonate healthcare providers in order to harm the vulnerable. Now, I will tell you this about crisis pregnancy centers. If they're going to do anything that is healthcare, they actually have to have licensed healthcare providers. So nurses, technicians, that have had specific healthcare training. So that's an unfounded and baseless concern that this group is discussing. Bare minimum self-reflection. So what were they supposed to do? These crisis pregnancy workers or centers, were they supposed to say, After much self-reflection, we've decided not to help women keep their babies. Okay, in order to harm the vulnerable. So we have a pregnant woman going into a crisis pregnancy center. Yes, she is in a vulnerable state. And if you end up there, you likely don't have things going well in life if you're in a crisis pregnancy center. But the most vulnerable in that situation is the baby that's inside her womb. So not only are they seeking to help this potential mother and say you have options outside of abortion, but they're all, which is helping the vulnerable, but they're also trying to help the baby from being murdered. So this is a completely false statement. Harm the vulnerable. History may not repeat itself, but it certainly rhymes. Okay, so there's things that happen through history that are analogous with each other. And we've already seen such stanzas. Oh, how quaint. They really are taking this rhyming poetry thing to really utilizing it in their prose here. Get it? Poetry and prose. Anyway, and we've already seen such stanzas where medical autonomy is stripped away. So, autonomy. Autonomy is an important concept in medical ethics, and I discuss it in my ethics course on medical mandates. But there are other ethical principles of consideration too, and only focusing on autonomy creates an incomplete discussion on ethics. Also, they're talking about the woman only. Again, they're neglecting the autonomy of the baby. So literally, they use a good word, stripped away. When that baby is stripped away from the mother's uterus through a violent procedure called abortion, their autonomy was not upheld. Okay, let's continue. Humanity is increasingly criminalized. I've got news for Jane's Revenge. We're all criminals. The main law we need to be focused on is God's law, and we've all broken it. Every single one of us, me included. And so all of humanity is criminalized. But, and yeah, we should criminalize murder, which is what abortion is. Okay, let's go on. And merely surviving becomes largely untenable. My goodness. I didn't know I was only going to read a well-written manifesto, but one from obvious world-class dramatic actors, because just surviving is becoming largely untenable because you have to have a baby. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so this is the next section I read and went through yesterday. I'm going to just read through it without comment because that's the video yesterday. Just for continuity. Your 30 days expired yesterday. We offered an honorable way out. You could have walked away. Now the leash is off. We will make it as hard as possible for your campaign of oppression to continue. We have demonstrated in the past month how easy and fun it is to attack. We are versatile, we are mercurial, and we answer to no one but ourselves. We promise to take increasingly drastic measures against oppressive infrastructures. Rest assured that we will, and those measures may not come in the form of something so easily cleaned up as fire and graffiti. Sometimes you will see what we do, and you will know that it is us. Some of this is different. Sometimes you will think you're merely unlucky because you cannot see the ways in which we interfere with your affairs. But your pointless attempts to control others, to make life more difficult, will not be met passively. Yeah, some of this is new. So some of this I read yesterday, but some of this is new. I thought it was a whole paragraph. So let's talk a little bit about this. We promise to take increasingly drastic measures against oppressive infrastructures. You know, one of the things that this group is, and they've kind of made it clear, is they are anarchists. Anarchists are people that believe in no rule. That's what the word anarchy means, no rule. And of course, Black Lives Matter, uh, when they first came out with their manifesto, theirs was communistic, but there was also an element of anarchism in it. And of course, Antifa paired up with Black Lives Matter quite a bit. This smacks a lot of Antifa. It appears that Antifa is part of this. What's interesting is Antifa kind of defeats itself. Literally, the name implies no rule, and yet they come together as groups that have apparent rules of how they're going to function, how they're going to order society. So it's a self-eating. They eat their own principles upon which they base their groups. Sometimes you will see what we do, and you will know that it is us. So they're gonna keep us guessing. They're gonna do something that they want to make sure we know it's them, but then they're gonna do stuff in the shadows, just so that you're always kept guessing. You don't know around which corner they might come from next. Sometimes you will merely think you are unlucky because you cannot see the ways in which we interfere with in your affairs. So if they can't see it, and they think something's just happened bad, I'm guessing they're going to try to mess, or they're focusing on messing with their actual carrying out of business. They're going to hack their accounts. They're going to like do little things to try to damage their clinics, where it might not be evident at first. Somebody's going to get killed. Let's continue. But your pointless attempts to control others. Pointless. And what's the point of a crisis pregnancy center? It's to offer aid to a woman who is not sure she wants to go through an abortion, thinking about keeping her baby, but is in a difficult situation. Is that a pointless thing? To help a mother? To save a baby? I let you decide. Okay, but your pointless attempts to control others, are they controlling these women walking in? And make life more difficult. Is having children difficult? Yeah, I won't argue with that. Raising children, especially in today's day and age with Biden policy and the massive inflation that's going on, it's sucking the life out of many of us. I'm watching, my bank account dwindle faster between paychecks than ever before. It's really challenging. But they're saying that crisis pregnancy centers are making life more difficult. I kind of thought they were trying to save life. It will not be met passively. So here's an active threat. This is a threat to violence, physical harm, damage, etc. And here's the key, further sentence that shows you that they do mean business in this particular area where they're going to cause actual harm. Eventually, your insurance companies and your financial bankers will realize you are a bad investment. So think about that. They are threatening to repeatedly cause damage, repeatedly create situations where they'll have to call upon insurance. What do you call upon insurance for? Loss of physical property, loss of health, injuries, things like that. So they're threatening injury, bodily harm, and physical damage. And if that's not a threat, I don't know what is. Okay, from here forward, so this is their new ultimatum. Any anti-choice group. Okay, so let's stop there. Anti-choice. People choose to use the words that, for a reason. These leftist ideology groups choose the words they use, like anti-choice, rather than pro-abortion, or I should say pro-life. So pro-life is what those of us who want to see abortions banned as murder, we call ourselves pro-life, but they call us anti-choice because they don't recognize the life inside the womb. From here forward, any anti-choice group who closes their doors and stops operating will no longer be a target. So basically they're saying it's our way or the highway. But until you do, it's open season, and we know where your operations are. Open season, it's a hunting analogy, right? They're going to hunt. They're hunting these pro-life um, people who seek to protect the rights of the mother and the baby. How nice. The infrastructure of the enslavers will not survive. The enslavers. So, obeying God's law, like thou shalt not murder, and recognizing the scriptures are very clear in talking about the origin of life being conception, and seeking to protect those people, both baby and providing services for mothers, labels you an enslaver. We will never stop, back down, slow down, or retreat. We did not want this. You did not want this. You did not want the violence that you're causing, and yet you're doing it. You know what happens? A lot of people. Here's an analogy. This is going to tie into this. Um, there's a famous guitarist who was with a fan, and he had his guitar, and he was strumming along. And anyway, the fan said, "Wow, I wish I knew how to play like you." And the famous guitarist said, "No, you don't." And the guy's like, "No, no, I really wish I knew how to play like you." And the famous guitarist said, "No, you don't." He said, "If you really wanted to play like me, you would, because you would have put in all the hard, long hours of work to actually get there. If you really wanted it, you would have done it, but you don't really want to." So going back to this, uh, we did not want to do this. We did not want this. Yes, you do. You want this because you're doing it. You do that which you want to do. And you've made that clear from your very own letter. We did not want this. So that's that particular line is against what you're trying to argue. But it is upon us, and so we must deal with it proportionally. Okay, proportionality. Giving equally. Let me check the time, guys. I'm going to have to wrap up pretty soon. Proportionality. Giving an equal punishment to the crime being perpetuated. So these pregnancy centers are helping women coming in, giving them physical, material help so that they can have diapers and formula and things like that. Well, formula might be gold right now. And get hook them up with people that might be able to, if they want to let their child go, hook them up with people that help them getting an adoption for their baby, and also saving the baby. If you're really acting proportionally, you would actually be helping these pregnancy centers rather than firebombing them and seeking to harm the people that work there. We exist in confluence and solidarity with all others in the struggle for complete liberation. What are they wanting liberty from? Well, they want liberty to murder. Our recourse now is to defend ourselves and to build robust, caring communities of mutual aid so that we may heal ourselves without the need of the medical industry or any other intermediary. You're going to heal yourselves without the medical industry. Good luck on that. When you next time you break a bone, good luck. Through attacking, we find joy, courage, and strip the veneer of impenetrability held by these violent institutions. So seeking to do good is violence. And for the allies of ours who doubt the authenticity of the communiques and actions, there is a way you can get irrefutable proof that these actions are real. Go do one of your own. So, in other words, make the message your own and just carry out these violent acts. You're already one of us. So, if I'm reading this, I'm supposedly one of them. Okay? Everyone with the urge to paint, to burn, to cut, or to jam, now is the time. So, everybody who has violent tendencies, seeking to harm others and take what's not yours for your own, to destroy it, and to maybe possibly even kill somebody in the process. You're one of us. That's what they're saying. Now is the time. Go forth and manifest the things you wish to see. And here's the kicker. This is the last line. Stay safe and practice your cursive. Jane's Revenge. So anyway, my video from yesterday kind of blew up for my channel, at least as far as my channel is concerned. And somebody said to me, basically, what do you expect? He called me Christo-fascist, a Christo-fascist. And anyway, I wish I still had the full conversation, but he deleted part of it. But I responded to him and I said, thanks for joining the conversation. I said, can you tell me, when does life begin? And he said, he made some other attack comment ad hominem, and then he said, from the moment that baby draws a breath, and then it's a living human being. And I said, okay, just to confirm, you're saying that anyone who is outside the womb, who is drawing breath, is fully human and deserving of the rights to life. And I said something about any attack upon them, or indicating that if you sought to harm that person, it would be wrong. And the person responded back, yes, of course. So I said, thank you. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. So these clinic workers, these pro-life crisis pregnancy clinical workers, having drawn breath, being outside the womb, are fully human and deserving of life and no threat of bodily harm or harm to themselves. And that ended the conversation. So I love Socratic method to help leftists see their complete idiocy. And anyway, I highly recommend it. All right, well, so I got to wrap up. I got to go to work. So God bless you. John Adamson with Seeking Light. Take care and have a great day.